everybody? Welcome into the Big Factor here on the Big Play Sports Network. Ryan Tyler, Jack O'Rourke, Nick Padone, Rob Watson. Today is Wednesday, April 30th, 43 degrees outside Cleveland, Ohio, if you wanted to know. Feels like 75 or 80 here in our studios at Burke Lakefront Airport, but that's okay, guys.
Wait, so it's
hot
back
in
to
Cleveland.
hot?
It's not as bad, Nick, as it has been. It's a little warm, although I will say today is a lot better than it was the days last week. So we're improving.
It's temperate today, I would say. This is a workable climate.
It was freezing.
What's bizarre that like the studio climate just doesn't make any sense, because Monday when it was actually hot out, like it was, in the 70s outside, the studio wasn't that hot.
Hey, we got a packed show today, fellas, by the way. We're starting here. We're going to start talking about the Browns because I got a little something I want to say about who I think will be the Browns' Week 1 starter. Then we're going to be talking about the Cavs and the Cavs Pacers. They'll meet in round 2. Manzardo walks off the Twins. Tanner Bybee deals at the dish. Bill Belichick's awkward interview. I think that's the perfect word to use there with his girlfriend, Jordan Hudson, on the sideline. And then, Jack, you're going to give us a little NHL playoff roundtable. How does that sound?
I'm excited. And Mikey Williams is still in college. Found that out today, too.
Yeah, I forgot. We didn't even talk about Shaq. What is it, Sacramento State?
Yeah.
Shaq and Mike Bibby, baby.
Becoming a powerhouse. We'll talk about
Shaq
that
State,
at the end.
baby.
Guys, we're a little bit further removed from the NFL draft. I feel like all these picks are soaking in. You have 4 quarterbacks right now. Well, technically 5 if you're including Deshaun Watson. He'll be on the PUP list, of course. I wanted to start today's show by telling you who I think will be the Browns' week 1 starting quarterback. Now, before I go into this, I'm assuming, Nick, I know you were talking about it. We all think it's going to be Joe Flacco at the helm, correct, Week 1?
I think it will be Joe Flacco, yeah.
Okay, so before we dive into this, we know one of these guys isn't going to be around. When you get to game day, Deshaun Watson will be on the PUP. When you get to game day, you have your 3, and one is an emergency quarterback, basically. So one of Joe Flacco, Kenny Pickett, Dylan Gabriel, Shedeur Sanders won't be on the roster, right? That's just how it has to be with the Browns.
Yep.
So according to Jack Duffin, our amazing capologist in Cleveland, I think you can call him that. So to me, he tweeted this out. So this Flacco and Pickett, their contracts won't impact who's the starter. Dead cap if they cut and sign somewhere else. Pickett $1.3 million, Flacco $1.7 million. Dead cap if traded. Pickett 0, Flacco $1.745 million. So he says this is a talent decision, not a money one. Okay, guys. So to me, when I read that, I think money doesn't matter. This is going to be a true camp battle. It's all about the talent and who shows out. Now, I want to talk about Kenny Pickett because to me, I think if you're the Browns, you do not want to start Dylan Gabriel or Shedeur Sanders Week 1. Unless you have to, unless one completely balls out, I think that would be fair to say. I don't want to see either one of them start. So when it comes to Kenny Pickett and Joe Flacco, I first have to look at what you expect from this team, the ceiling next year. Joe Flacco, yes, you can go win 8-9 games, be above 500. I don't see them making the playoffs any scenario next season, so I start with that. Now, if that's my base ceiling, and Kenny Pickett, and I know you guys will laugh at this when I say this, but I don't think it's that far-fetched that same scenario is possible with Kenny Pickett at the helm for the Cleveland Browns. I don't think Kenny Pickett is great by any means. I think he had a bad situation in Pittsburgh, and obviously didn't get a chance in Philadelphia. And I'm not comparing him to a guy like Sam Darnold. I think Sam Darnold has way more talent than Kenny Pickett did, but you see what happens when guys come to a new system. They get a new chance. They get a new restart for their careers, and they sometimes make it work. But my point comes to this. If you're rolling into the future, do you want it to be Joe Flacco and 2 rookies where these 2 rookies are basically going to fight each other, and then at the end of the season, it's, okay, who's going to be the next Browns quarterback? Joe Flacco will retire, I'm assuming, or play football somewhere else after this season. Or do you want your 3 quarterbacks going forward to also be the 2 rookies and a guy who's trying to make a career for himself, trying to wash away the bust label? I think that would be your best scenario to get the best out of this quarterback room. I want a competitive quarterback room. It'll be regardless, but when you're talking about a guy like Joe Flacco who doesn't have a career in football anymore after this season, I think that's fair to say, or at very least is on the twilight of his career, I'd rather have Kenny Pickett busting his ass in the weight room, busting his ass on the field in training camp and mini camp and all that with these rookies, somebody who the Browns have fighting still to be that QB1. Now, to me, I like the idea of having 3 quarterbacks, 2 starting to start their career and 1 trying to transform the bust label like I'm talking about. I get the appeal. Joe Flacco might be your best option for next season in totality, but what is the end result of that? Is it a playoff berth? I doubt it. Is it a 9-8 win season? Possibly. And like I said, I don't think it's so far-fetched that you could say that would be the same result as Kenny Pickett. You got 2 first-rounders next year. I know you don't want to lose, but it's not the worst thing to, again, win 5 games. and then you have 2 picks in the top 10 next season. I'm just saying I wouldn't be shocked if it's Joe Flacco is the one that's cut. You went into this season, or excuse me, the draft with just one other quarterback, Kenny Pickett. I don't think the Browns planned to exit the draft with 2 quarterbacks in Dylan Gabriel and Shedeur Sanders. I think that's just the way it fell, and now Joe Flacco might be the casualty of that.
Ryan,
your guys' thoughts?
I totally agree with you, and I think it's just an optics thing more than a football thing as well. Because you also have to remember that the Cleveland Browns fan base loves Joe. No, I agree. I agree with you. What I'm saying is the Cleveland Browns fan base loves Joe Flacco. If Joe Flacco comes out and even gives you like a 3-3 start or something, for example, people are going to stick around and hang and teeter on the bandwagon for as long as they can because Cleveland just loves them some Joe Flacco. Kenny Pickett could start out 7-0 and half the city of Cleveland be like, yeah, I don't really care. Play Shedeur or Dylan Gabriel, depending on which one you like more. Like there's a difference in how they're viewed publicly, and I think that plays into it, Ryan. And like you said, like if you're at a point where at the end of the day, we know we're not winning this year, and it's going to come sometime in the future. The odds of Joe Flacco at 42 years old winning the Cleveland Browns a Super Bowl is incredibly low, if not zero. So you got to do whatever you can to try and find the next guy, and that starts out with Pickett, who's 25, and then so on and so on with the younger guys.
Yeah, I don't know. To me, it's like fuck optics. I understand that the fan base wants, like, the fan base is going to want what they want. You're going to be having people clamoring for Shedeur. You want the next new fresh thing. But I want an uber competitive quarterback room. I don't want it to just be between Dylan Gabriel and Shedeur Sanders fighting to who's going to replace the aging retired Joe Flacco. I want a guy in there in Kenny Pickett who wants to restart his career, and he has every right to fight for that position in the Cleveland Browns. And it goes back to, I don't think the Browns want to start Shedeur or Dylan Gabriel week 1. Now, there could become a scenario where Shedeur flames out. He becomes a total drama filled, which I don't think is going to happen, by the way, and you can just let him go. 5th round picks get cut all the time. That's not a big deal. Dylan Gabriel, seen their guy. I think he's less likely to get cut. And so to me, it comes down to Joe Flacco or Kenny Pickett is the one that's going to be the odd man out.
Here's the thing. The argument, Ryan, is spot on, but Jack's counter argument is also spot on. I think most good organizations would see it the way that you're looking at it, Ryan, that Joe Flacco, where the Browns are at right now, is the odd man out. He doesn't fit. He's the older guy. Yes, he could win you more games, but yes, you also know what he can be. And, you know, he can be a Super Bowl winning quarterback. It's just that you don't have a Super Bowl winning roster surrounding him right now, and he's going to be 41. I don't think they cut any of these guys. I think somebody's getting traded. The New Orleans Saints could use the Browns to lend them a quarterback. I very well think that you could flip Kenny Pickett or Joe Flacco, pending how the camp battle's looking and going, to the Saints for a draft pick, mid-late round draft pick next season, just to get off one of these guys so you don't have to cut anybody. Because the one issue is you can't really cut any of these guys with the hopes to sneak them back on the practice squad outside of Pickett or Flacco. Like if you cut one of the rookies, somebody will claim them and try to and just put them right on their active roster. So that's out. You got to look towards trading one of them. If not, and if you can't find a partner, then you got to decide between Pickett and Flacco to cut. Hope they clear waivers so you could practice squad them.
Right, because you're not, because the post June 1 cut will be so you can spread out the money through 2 campaigns, not just this one. And that's my whole point, dude. Like, if somebody wants, and I feel like who would be more likely to be traded? Who would want this rental for a year? Probably Joe Flacco, I would say. I don't know what team. I feel like the draft, most teams that needed a quarterback pretty much figured that out. I don't know if anybody really has belief in Joe Flacco anymore. But it comes down to Kenny Pickett or Joe Flacco. I think Joe Flacco is the one more likely to be traded, and you're not starting Dylan Gabriel or Shedeur Sanders week 1 unless you absolutely have to, unless one of them blows you away in camp. I know Kenny Pickett seems like the disgusting option, but tell me that's not something the Browns would do, is roll him out week 1 is their best suited, not starting a rookie going into this campaign.
Yeah,
and I think how they do, and how they do that, like the Scooby-Doo, and that's how they get away with it. The meddling kids. How they get away with it is, you don't cut Flacco, you trade him, so at least then they could say, well, we had an offer we couldn't refuse.
Right.
Okay, that's probably BS, 5th round, 6th round pick for Joe Flacco. And then, your default only option is a guy that's at least has started an NFL game before, in Kenny Pickett. It is disgusting. And I don't know, like again, the optics of it, like it's grimy, it's slimy. I don't put it past them. Though is the thing. Like you're Ryan, you're making a good point here, and that is probably an avenue that they're looking at that could make sense.
And who's to say? I listen. You call me crazy. Who's to say Kenny Pickett doesn't straight up beat out Joe Flacco in camp?
Nah, here's.
That's me.
Nah.
I'll be the one to say it. I'll be the one to say it.
I don't think it's that crazy. I don't think Kenny Pickett is that ass, guys.
Nah. Let me, bro. Last time, come on. Joe Flacco.
What if it's one of the rookies though? Like, what if
it might
Dylan
be,
Gabriel?
I don't see the Browns starting a third rounder, fifth rounder week 1. I don't see it happening.
Kenny,
they're that stupid.
If it's Kenny, the rookies will be in by week 3, though, in my opinion.
That's fine. I'm not saying that's not possible. I'm not saying Kenny Pickett's the answer. I'm saying my argument is week 1 starter, I believe, will be Kenny Pickett.
I don't want to see that. I don't want to see.
I don't want to see it either.
I don't want to see the Charlie Fry start before we threw in Derek Anderson when we were down 42-0.
Get ready for
And then Shedeur is Brady Quinn in the wings waiting.
That's what I'm saying. Like I'm not trying to see that. Even with Joe Flacco being down last year, having a bad year, I feel like even that is still just light years ahead of anything I've seen from Kenny Pickett at all in his entire career.
What's the difference?
I do think.
Are we saying he's gonna improve, or are we just saying we want to just throw him out to sacrifice him?
I'm saying if your options are starting Joe Flacco, winning 8-9 games, I don't think they're going to the playoffs. I just don't think that's going to happen. Or vice versa, Kenny Pickett, and I'm going to say ceiling could win 10 games. Is it unlikely? Yes, it is. But your other alternative is what? You win 5 games. Guess what? You're still doing nothing. You're still looking for your quarterback. I would rather go through this season with my quarterback room being uber competitive if I'm not going to go to a promised land regardless, with 2 rookies going against not an aging Joe Flacco who's waiting off in the wings to retire, but a guy like Kenny Pickett who's going to fight every day in camp. And as bad as he may seem, a guy who's going to compete to try and wash off that bust label.
I think it'll be competitive either way, though. Even if Flacco starts, like he's old, injury prone. Last year, he's going back and forth with A-Rich. I feel like you really can't go wrong regardless. Like they all understand we're just in hell.
Are we under the guise? Do we all agree that it'll be Kenny Pickett or Joe Flacco not on the roster?
Yeah, for sure. I have a question.
So
for you,
I gotta feel it. It's gonna be Pickett, big ticket, week 1.
Yeah, Ryan's putting together a hell of an argument. The one thing too here is that now that you have 2 first-round picks next year,
that's what I'm saying. Who cares if you suck?
But more importantly, you would like to figure out if either of the 2 quarterbacks that you drafted are literally any good at all. So sacrifice. Like whoever is the week 1 starter, whether it's Flacco or Pickett, is probably a little bit of a sacrificial lamb in the sense of you might have 2 or 3 games because the Browns historically have struggled to figure out how to get 1 rookie quarterback on the field and developed. Now you're trying to do that with 2 rookie quarterbacks at the same time.
Ryan, I'm just thinking about that.
Order your
theoretical
Pickett jersey. Order your Pickett jersey.
I already got my Shedeur jersey, dude.
You think he can win 10 games?
I'm not saying
that's what I wanted to come back to. That was wild. That was wild.
Whoa.
That was on my head too.
Junkins got to be a Pro Bowler.
I didn't say he's gonna win 10 games.
Joe Burrow out for the year. Lamar out for the year.
Rewind the tape. I did not say Kenny Pickett's gonna win 10 games. I said if the ceiling for a guy like Joe Flacco is win 10 games, that's fine. I don't think it's far-fetched to say Kenny Pickett is going to be that much of a downfall if he starts this season compared to a Joe Flacco. And my whole argument bases on this. Exactly, Nick. If Joe Flacco gets traded, you keep Kenny Pickett competing with these 2 rookies. Joe Flacco isn't going to be playing football after this year, and if he is, he'll be on some other team. I don't know, some desperate team. He's gonna be 1 step away from playing catch with this kid every day in the driveway. We know that. Kenny Pickett will fight every day. I'm just saying that would be a more competitive quarterback room. I'd rather have Shedeur and Dylan Gabriel fighting against this guy than fighting against a guy who we know won't be playing football next year.
I mean, it is it's an argument, and you made it. I mean, I really have no rebuttal here, to be completely honest. I mean, the logic is completely sound. It's disgusting. Browns fans won't want to hear it. I'm sure, Ryan, people are going to disagree with you when this gets clipped and put out there. But the fact of the matter is they've got to find a way. And I don't even think Pickett would get the opportunity to really like a true chance to see if he could, start and win 10 games, because you got to find what you've got in 2 rookie quarterbacks, because next year class is a little bit better with the kid off from LSU, maybe Arch. It sounds like probably not. Drew Aller, the hometown kid. Like, you got to find out
Drew
if you're
Aller
going to need to
sucks.
go back to the well again next year, or if you're good with these two jokers that you just picked up in the 3rd and 5th round.
All right, guys, we are way over time. I got to take a break. When we get back, Cavs, they will be taking on the Pacers in the 2nd round. We're going to break that down, talk about X factors and all that good stuff when we get back on the Big Factor. Hey, everybody. Welcome back to the Big Factor here on the Big Play Sports Network. Ryan Tyler, Jack O'Rourke, Nick Padone, Rob Watson. We're rooting for Kenny Pickett. We're a Kenny Pickett show. Just kidding, guys.
No, we're not.
All right,
No,
we got to talk about our great friends over at Fairway Ford. Fairway Ford, Ohio is the biggest Ford truck dealership in the entire state. They have the largest selection of Ford F-150s and Super Duty trucks, and they will not be beat on price by any other Ford dealers. You can see up there employee pricing for everyone. You pay less than what they pay. Pre-tariff pricing on all Fords, over 500 in stock on their lot. You can scan that QR code or go visit their website, fairwayfordohio.com. The largest inventory of new Ford trucks, the lowest pricing, and the same hometown level of service. That's fairwayfordohio.com. Okay, guys, basketball. Cavs make quick work of the Miami Heat. Bucks lose in 5 games to the Indiana Pacers. We'll be playing them in round 2. How are we feeling? Are we concerned at all about the pace? Are we concerned at all about having to score 130 points a game to win? Give me your guys' initial thoughts as we take on the Pacers in round 2.
Guys, it's got to be having eyes on Tyrese Halliburton's dad at all times. You know, if he makes a trip out to Cleveland in this series, and if he's near the court, I don't want anything happening. I know a couple of security guards over at Rocket Arena. I know that they're gonna be locked in because we're not letting that guy get to the court on Donovan or something.
So I missed this. Can someone explain to me what happened?
Yeah. So, you got it. I can explain. We can tag team it.
Yeah, I'll start off. I'll tag you in, bro. So boom, Bucks choke, overtime lead,
twice.
They sell, fumble bag. So they inbound it, they throw up the half quarter. Giannis is standing at about the 3-point line, and Tyrese Halliburton's dad is sitting courtside. Jack, take it away from what happens from here, bro.
Tyrese Halliburton's dad decided that not only did his son beat Giannis in the NBA playoffs, but he beat Giannis in the playoffs, rocking his Tyrese Halliburton. I believe it's the Icon Edition jersey. I'm not too familiar with the NBA's names for their jerseys. Oh yeah, the towel with his son on it, and he's giving him the. Hey, you're not about it. You're not about it. You're not about it. Get the F out of here.
Sprints onto the court.
Shut up, dude. You didn't do shit.
He's
Shut
on
up.
the court. Like, as
you're
soon
not
as the
about
game
it.
ends, like someone just hit a game winner. The fans are like rushing the court. He's out there in Giannis's face with a towel.
I looked this up. Tyrese Halliburton has not won a championship since the sophomore year of high school. Giannis Antetokounmpo won the NBA Finals with friggin' Chris Middleton like 3 years ago as the second best player on the team. And you're going to come out there and tell him that he's not about it? Really?
All right, well, guys, the Indiana Pacers, high-scoring team, fast-paced team. Rob, how do we match up with these boys?
All right, I could give you like my keys to the series, like where I think this is gonna hinge. Number 1, front court matchup. So we got our DPOY going up against their best player, Pascal Siakam. We're gonna need Evan Mobley to limit him as much as possible. I mean, Pascal is gonna do what he's got to do, but also I'm looking at Miles Turner being able to stretch the floor. We really hinged our defense on those two being in the paint, but Jared Allen, he's gonna have to step out and guard Miles Turner on the 3-point line. So that's number 1. We got to win the front court matchup. If they're getting outscored, it's gonna be kind of tough, but if we could get them in foul trouble, do our thing, I'd take that matchup. Number 2 is the bench. I think we have a stronger bench. Ty Jerome, DeAndre Hunter. They're going to be looking to score a lot of points. But when we hit first off the bench on those first subs, that could really change up momentum within games. Number 3, I'm interested to see how Kenny Atkinson is going to guard Tyrese Halliburton. Are we going to try to take away him scoring or him passing? I'd argue that I'd rather see him score 30 points and have 5 assists than see him have 20 and 15. I think they're a better team when he's dishing off the rock and when he's getting everyone involved.
How many games, Rob?
Cavs in 7.
Cavs in 7. I
that.
like that. Let's make it a little interesting. Nick, how are we feeling headed into this Eastern Conference semifinals?
I'm feeling good. I do think, similar to Rob, I think the Pacers give the Cavs just a way better test than what we saw in the first round against the Miami Heat. I mean, the Heat just straight up didn't belong. And I think the one thing that people need to understand about this is that the Pacers are battle tested. This is a team that went on a run to the Eastern Conference Finals last year off the heels of the NBA in-season tournament, which everybody likes to joke about, but I truly do think that it helped Indiana last year play big-time basketball games and understand what that playoff atmosphere feels like. Obviously, Halliburton is really good and could light up the stat sheet and could score a lot of points. But the thing is that the Cavs do have the number one team in the NBA in terms of offense. It's not Indiana, it's Cleveland. I said Cavs in 6, but this should definitely be a much bigger test for the Cavs than what we saw in round 1.
Well, I believe the Cavs-Pacers game 1, let's take a quick look here. They have a little while off. Their first game isn't until Sunday, May 4th. So they get a little while rest. Guys, go ahead, Jack. You have a theory?
Oh, I made a really bad May 4th joke, but I can tell you, I will say, I was going to say for me, I'm going to go Cavs in 6 in this one, but my hot take, Nick kind of touched on this. I thought he made an incredible point. I think the Pacers take either game 1 or game 2 in Cleveland and kind of give us that nice little day on the big factory where we can debate, are we in trouble or not? They're going to give us a little bit of something to talk about. I know they're a tough team, and like Nick said, they just went through a long series, and the one thing I've seen, though, on the internet, though, from people who know a lot more about basketball than me, though, is that maybe Indiana isn't long enough on the wings to defend the Cavs.
Well, every action has an opposite and equal reaction. The Pacers advanced to round 2 of the NBA playoffs, but the Bucks are going home. Guys, Bucks blew 2 leads in this series. 4 playoff wins for Milwaukee since a guy by the name of Jimmy Haslam acquired stake in the team. I want you to fill in the blank. Next year, Giannis Antetokounmpo will be playing for
Guangdong Tigers. I don't know. Wow.
I mean, it's so sad what they did to that team.
You can say the Bucks.
No, he can't stay. Like they had such a great team built, the perfect team around Giannis. You had gritty guys like Drew Holiday and Grayson Allen, Chris Middleton, like perfect players beside him, and they tear this team down. And you don't put people who need the ball in their hands around Giannis. You put him on a team where he could have the ball, and when he dishes off, he's hitting guys who could hit timely shots and make plays when they need to. So, I mean, the old thing I used to be saying was Golden State, but they got Jimmy now. So possibly Giannis to Miami could work, perhaps.
That's one I've been seeing floating around. Nick, you got any thoughts?
How about I can see Miami. How about Phoenix? Phoenix loses KD but refuses to give up on just acquiring big name superstars that don't make any sense. That would be just classic NBA to try to pair Giannis with Book, Bradley Beal. I don't think that would work, but I could see that ownership group wanting to do something like that, especially understanding that Kevin Durant's probably done in Phoenix this year.
Sleeper is San Antonio.
Dude, I'm so glad you said that. I just thought of that, Rob. I thought of, and I was going to ask you guys if this makes sense. Obviously, you guys know way more about NBA I do. Giannis, Wemby, De'Aaron Fox, and they could throw him a bag. Do the Spurs have the inside track right now on Cooper Flag?
Well, they have Vassell, too. Vassell's pretty good, isn't he?
He's out in the... Is Giannis' contract expiring, or would they have to
I don't know.
If it's
I think they got to trade.
If it's a trade, Vassell's gone.
Who is the inside track on Cooper Flag right now?
I think it's Utah.
Utah?
I think they have the one. They were the worst team.
I'm glad you said that. I thought of San Antonio too. That'd be fun.
It would work because Wemby could stretch the floor. He could hit from the logo. And then Giannis is one of those guys that, like, he's just so good. Like, you could play him like a center. So now you're guarding a pick and roll at the top of the key with Fox and Giannis. And then you got Wemby cutting from the corner or spotting up on the wing, still spacing the floor. Then on defense, good luck shooting anything other than a 3. Good luck. It's like, I mean, that would be nasty if he went to San Antonio.
I was gonna say,
I'm doing an NBA draft lottery sim right now.
Because then it's the 3 teams and it's like the coin flip, right? It's like
it's ping pong, but with the first pick, the Chicago Bulls.
Oh,
Cooper flag.
I don't like that.
Philly
Nick,
2, Utah 3.
I was going to say, though, to your point earlier about Giannis potentially going out to Phoenix, I was reading an article this morning from John Hollinger, who is the Grizzlies GM in like the Conley Gasol era, and he was trying to put out ways that the Bucks could make it work to keep Giannis and try and form a competitive basketball team around him while still changing up the current landscape of the team. And one of the only ways that he thought it was even possible, and again, he said not that this would be a good team, but to try and get serviceable money, you have to match contracts, obviously, in the NBA, it would be trying to get Bradley Beal to Milwaukee, which does not sound good because they'd have to match the Dame money somehow to get him out of there.
It's so bad because it's all a downgrade from what they had. They had it. They had it, and they went from a championship, then they lost in the semis. But Giannis is dealing with injuries. Drew's in and out, hurt. And then you just tear the whole team down.
They have no future either.
I don't get it. I don't get what they did. I love Dame as a player, but it's just not a good fit. You're out there with – you trade Chris – I get Chris Middleton was hurt, but Kyle Kuzma?
Is it possible?
Are you serious?
Rob, would it be possible for Giannis to join the Denver Nuggets?
I mean, that's another one nobody wants to see. Like the
him and Joker
the
would
league,
be gross.
The league is done. A Jokic, because he's handling the rock with the Giannis screen. I mean, if he could really shake it up. Like
Jokic might have 20 assists a game,
and then Giannis might have 40. And then but that team is so thin. If there's a trade, I don't know what they would do. Like they would have like nobody else. They're about to find a way to win in the first round somehow. I thought they were done, but by Magic's happenstance, they're still.
Also, too, how about this? How have we not talked about the fact that Doc Rivers finds a way to lose every single playoff game, like the same exact way? Like it's just Command C, Command V for Doc Rivers. Like he quite literally never learns. Like he literally did. It's almost like Tibbs in a way, who also the Knicks lost yesterday. Like just refuses to adjust anything. Like it's his philosophy, his identity, he sticks with it, and he keeps losing playoff games.
He's so lucky that Celtics team won because he's just had 17 years of straight playoff misery since they won that championship with the other big ticket.
It's the Pokemon theory, bro. The baby version of the coaching tree is JB. The slightly evolved version is Thibodeau, but the final, the Blastoise, the big it's Doc Rivers, bro. He's gonna always find a way. So I mean, you're seeing it unfold in round one, bro.
I love the Pokemon reference. I think it was Rare Candy that you gave him to make him instantly evolve, if I'm not mistaken. Either that or Level Up. Rare Candy, yeah.
Rare Candy.
All right, we got to take another break. We get back, flipping it over to the diamond. Guards walk off. Manzo goes yard. Bybee with his best outing in quite a while, honestly. Jack, I'm going to tell you what you think about that when we get back on the Big Factor.
Tell me.
Hey, everybody. Welcome back to the Big Factor and the Big Play Sports Network. Ryan Tyler, Jack O'Rourke, Nick Padone, Rob Watson. Before we talk about our Cleveland Guardians, got to tell you about our great friends over at Garage Beer. You can see right up there, Garage Beer comes in just two flavors, classic light lager as well as that classic lime beer. No frills, no bitterness, none of that IPA taste. It's just beer-flavored beer. Scan that QR code or go visit their website, drinkgaragebeer.com, to find local retailers who sell garage beer near you. The best beverage for sporting events. Sit there watching a ball game, 9 innings. I'm not telling you to do the 999 challenge, but if you are so inclined to do so, I don't think you can beat it doing it with Garage Beer. A nice light, nice taste in beer for you guys. All right, we're flipping it over to our Cleveland Guardians. Kyle Manzo walks off. Guardians finally get back into the win column. Bybee with one of his best starts in quite a while. 7 innings pitched, 5 hits, 1 earned run, 5 Ks, no walks. Manzo, the hero of last night, Jack.
Man, the whiff kid's back. Tanner Bybee, isn't he? 10 swings and misses last night, his highest total of the season so far this year. A lot of encouraging signs out of Tanner, especially because when you kind of break him down, like he's a guy who, if and I hate to pick on Tristan McKenzie, again, our guy, but Tristan McKenzie, you're throwing a fastball, you're throwing a slider, and you're throwing a curveball. And if one of those things isn't working, you run into a lot of trouble. That's the good thing about Tanner Bybee is he has 6 pitches, so if a couple of them are on, there's a decent chance you're going to get a good start. He was locating his fastball well in the high part of the zone last night, which is a very big key for him. So Tanner Bybee, all good things moving forward. And hey, one solo home run, that's fine. If you get a solo shot a game, that'll keep the doctor away. Just make sure there's not a lot of guys on base. And he did that by not walking a ton of batters last night. Actually, 0 batters, I believe, last night. But man, before we get to Manzo, Ryan, I hate to say it. Again, every agenda is a working agenda. You know, things can change up and down as the year fluctuates. But I'm going to admit I was wrong for the first time about the Guardians this season. It took us 1 month to get here. As of right now, again, working. I'm wrong about Bo Naylor, guys. I'm going to put it out there into the system. Bo Naylor, the sport of catcher is so hard in baseball. There's not a ton of guys who can hit above 230. You're kind of asking for guys to give you 220 and 15 home runs in this day and age in baseball. No one's really getting on base. If you slot him in the 8 hole and he's not really bothering anyone, maybe even the 7 hole, so that way he's not affecting Quan and Jose, or I guess Jose's back in the 3 hole. If Bo Naylor hits in your 8 hole, he has 3 home runs so far, which means maybe we're on pace to hit like 15, 16 around there. If he hits 220 with 15 home runs, okay defense. He had a critical thrown out runner, I guess. I worded that wrong. He threw a guy out in the 9th inning that was huge last night as well. So if he's going to give you some of those things too, I'm okay with him, guys. I'm okay with Bo Naylor being the Cleveland Guardians starting catcher.
All right, Jack. Well, the Cleveland Guardians 16-13, still behind the Detroit Tigers for the lead in the AL Central, taking on the Twins again tonight. First pitch, 6:10. Pablo Lopez on the mound for the Twins. Luis Ortiz on the mound for the Guardians. He's 2-3 with a 5.96 ERA. What are we looking for out of one Luis Ortiz tonight?
I think both these guys have a very similar story. I mean, in a much different way. Pablo Lopez is about 5 times the pitcher based off what he's done in his career compared to Luis Ortiz. But if you see any Twins fans on the internet, they're going to tell you, hey, as soon as we get Pablo Lopez going, that's when we're going to be back where we need to be. We're going to climb up in this division. We'll climb the ladder, whatever. Luis Ortiz, there's a very niche part of Guardians fans. They're like, you know what? That guy, we brought him in for a reason. We traded a lot to get him. Might take him some time, but once he gets going, that's when the rotation's going to turn around. Something's going to have to give. Something's going to have to push. Pablo Lopez always does very well against us, tends to, as most aces in this division do. But, man, Ortiz, you're just looking to see him miss bats. And as dumb as it sounds, you could say that for any pitcher, probably he needs to miss bats because he has good stuff. It's just been location so far. Not even location in terms of missing the zone, but a little bit like Class A, where he's just missing the wrong spots in the zone.
All right, I see, Jack, you wrote we're 14th in these power rankings. That's solid.
Considering we had a graphic up yesterday that said we have the 30th best rotation in baseball, and our offense isn't the best lineup in baseball, which wouldn't average you out in the middle, I'm pretty damn happy about 14 right now, Ryan. And as we talked about as well yesterday, schedule does ease up a bit here, hopefully with the Twins too.
All right, we're not talking about this. That's what Bill Belichick's girlfriend, Jordan Hudson, had to say when he was asked how him and the Super Bowl winning coach, her and the Super Bowl winning coach met, but we're going to talk about it. If you haven't seen Bill Belichick's very awkward interview, I got a little clip we're going to play outside of the break. We're going to break down and give our thoughts on that when we get back on the Big Factor. Hey, everybody. Welcome back to the Big Factor here on the Big Play Sports Network. Ryan Tyler, Jack O'Rourke, Nick Padone, Rob Watson. Guys, it's time to talk about 73-year-old Bill Belichick. If you've been living under a rock, or I should say, if you haven't been living under a rock, then you, of course, know Bill Belichick is dating 24-year-old Jordan Hudson, a former college cheerleader, I believe, if I'm not mistaken. Everybody has their own opinions about this. That's fine. He was on an interview, and I don't know who the interviewer was. I should probably look that up before I talk about it. But basically,
Last name hard to pronounce. It's with CBS.
Okay, good enough. Good enough.
Good.
Well, basically, the interviewer asked Bill Belichick multiple questions. One of those was, well, how did you meet your 24-year-old girlfriend, Jordan Hudson, Bill? Looked like Bill was about to answer, but Jordan made sure that he didn't. Check this out.
Jordan was a constant presence during our interview.
You have Jordan right over there. Everybody in the world seems to be following this relationship. They've got an opinion about your private life. It's got nothing to do with them, but they're invested in it. How do you deal with that?
Never been too worried about what everybody else thinks. Just try to do what I feel like is best for me and what's right.
How did you guys meet?
Not talking about this.
No?
No.
It's a topic neither one of them is comfortable commenting on.
Once a show, I almost went through it without it. Well, that's it. Jordan Hudson, we decline to talk about this. We decline your option to talk about how I met my 73-year-old boyfriend or how my 73-year-old boyfriend met my 24-year-old self. Now, the theories on the internet, allegedly, I am not saying this is to be true. I'm saying there are many theories about this. One was she could be an escort. Now, I highly doubt. I think Bill's got more game than that. Six Super Bowl rings. Six Super Bowl rings can get you more than an escort, I would assume. Bill's got all the money in the world as well. Just very interesting. You know, I go back to months ago, they posted when they were doing yoga on the beach. He looked very athletic and limber and spry, holding his girlfriend up on his legs. A very public relationship for something that is, I guess, looked down upon in society. A 73-year-old man with a 24-year-old girlfriend.
I mean, this is the biggest. So, like, we've never really talked about this, I don't think. This is like the biggest age gap ever. Like 24 and 73. That's big, and people will have their opinions about it, and that's well documented and out there and all that good stuff. I think when they first started dating, everybody kind of looked at Belichick as like, oh man, like kind of a creep, But now it's like, is she taking advantage of him? Like, is this elder abuse? Does he know that these images are on social media? Does he know how social media works? He's on some of these platforms now. But does Bill think that, like, because you post something on Instagram, only like your, 30 people that you follow see it in terms of, like how old Facebook was, and it's not out there for the entire world to see? Like, I walked away from the last couple of days worth of this. And by the way, too, she then yesterday, Jordan posted on her Instagram a private email from Bill Belichick stating his concerns about publicity for his upcoming book that he's getting ready to put out. Why is she doing this? One, and two, does Bill know that all of this is as public as it is? I'm not sure. Because it's fascinating to me that the guy that became famous because he could control young people better than anybody else is having a very hard time seemingly controlling the one young person who appears to be closest to him.
All right, how gloves off are we getting with this?
Very
talk?
gloves
how,
off.
How
Rob.
serious are we getting?
Very
all right,
gloves
bro.
off.
Listen, man. It's the play. I see the play. We've seen the play before. It's usually not with someone as popular as Bill, and we would have thought Bill was smarter than this. But she's playing the waiting game. Oh. All right, she's playing the waiting game. If you catch my drift, you know what's going on. Bill, I don't know how you're 70-something and you're whipped by like a 23-year-old. That makes no sense, bro. Like,
that's the piece of it. So either one, he doesn't really understand the full extent of it. Two, he doesn't really care. Or three, in some sort of twisted way, it's like fulfilling for him. Because
whoa, we're not going there.
No, because like the New York Post reported yesterday that she has inserted herself into every aspect of of his personal and professional life. Like, she's been spotted on the sidelines at UNC practices. Like this is like becoming alarming in more ways than just like, it's weird that he's 73 and he's dating somebody that's 50 years younger than him.
Well, Nick, it's also like, if you think about it, and again, not that our GOAT would ever do anything like this because he doesn't. He's happily married and he's a legend. But it's like, it'd be like if Bruce Drennan was dating a 23-year-old, he doesn't use social media.
He would say a young squeeze.
A young squeeze, yeah, exactly. The other thing I wanted to hit on, Nick, you talk about the big J journalism all the time. And not to attack the reporter here, I think he did an incredible job from the interview that I listened to. But so when you ask this question to Bill Belichick, one-on-one. Nick, you've gotten the chance to interview Bill Belichick before, I believe. I don't want to put words into your mouth, but I'm sure you could attest to how cool of an honor that was for you as a journalist. He gets to interview Bill friggin' Belichick. He asks a question, and some 24-year-old girl on the side of the road goes, "No, you can't ask that." Do you hear his response? Can we run that back? He goes, "No." He's being submissive to this girl. I think that's absolutely wild. I think you go out there and ask your question, right?
She's got aura, though.
Here's the thing: because she's inserted herself into all of his endeavors. I mean, in that setting, obviously, like when I interviewed Belichick, it was like a press conference. But
Still.
in that one-on-one setting, it is common to have like a PR person, a publicist, that kind of sits off camera. That's what it reminded me of. When she interrupted him, but this isn't a trained PR person. Also, too, this was a puff piece. This isn't big J journalism. Like this is a book promotion. You sit the person down and you do, how marvelous this book is and all of the great stories that you're going to tell in this book and give us a preview. Like this isn't 60 minutes by any stretch. Like they're not looking to break any news here. So this CBS and this reporter, I guess, kind of went on the record / off the record, some sort of weird hybrid with TMZ and told TMZ that she was a constant presence during the interview. And that's why they even decided to leave that blip in, because usually they would just delete something like that. Like this was supposed to be a puff piece. Like this isn't some sort of ground earth shattering report. Like the guy has a book coming out next week and they were doing a story about it.
So here's another working theory. I'm going to try to be as clean with this as possible. Bill's been in charge of a lot of people his whole life, man.
Yeah,
It's been real stressful.
Yeah.
It's time to be submissive.
Facts.
It's time to just
He's a
take the
closeted
gloves
sub. It's fine, guys. It's Bill Belichick. So, could we ever consider that the play is just that immaculate?
The play.
I'm speechless.
The bedtime play is just that
So we're
immaculate.
going, we're going there too,
we're not
bro.
going there.
We're going there too.
No.
Let's be real.
What do you?
Let's do it.
What
family show.
When you're talking about this, there's first of all,
I don't think they do, bro.
First of all,
I don't think they do.
he's that. Wow.
I don't
no.
think they do.
Yeah, he does.
He absolutely does
It's-
for the amount of
it's-
money. I mean,
yeah.
are you serious?
How do you know?
There's a lot of
you're
medication.
assuming he's paying
It's
her.
a lot of
Well,
medication.
what's
No. I'm
What
not
about
assuming
her
he's
dinner?
paying. I'm
Some
not
shit.
assuming he's paying her, but also I'm not buying that she just stepped in because she didn't want to say why we met because we didn't have some meet cute. No, there's something to it. First of all, there's no
was a
way Bruce
story.
Bruce Strand. You made me say Bruce Strand.
But it's not like Bill just
There's no
gets
way
girls.
Bill Belichick has anything in common with this young woman.
So maybe he's just taking it back. Maybe he's just happy to be there. You don't know. He's
Yeah.
just Mac Daddy Bill Belichick. He might have just been so consumed with his work and just awkward his whole life.
Rob, I agree, or I am inclined to agree with your theory that he likes to take the reins back. He likes being told what to do in this relationship.
Or maybe he was on a golfing trip with some work buddies like Robert Kraft or something and just hanging out at the clubhouse.
Now, how did they meet though? They should have let him answer that question because that would explain so much, bro.
Did they meet on Tinder? Is he afraid to say we were I was on Tinder as a 70-year-old?
Did he meet her on the college campus? I
Raya?
don't know. I'm trying to figure
You
it
guys
out.
are missing. You guys there was an initial story when they started dating that they met on an airplane. The story was that she was. The story initially was that she was seated next to him on an airplane. She was studying philosophy. They had a very brief conversation. He signed the philosophy textbook. If you look up Bill Belichick,
He put his
Jordan
number in the
Hudson
textbook?
philosophy textbook, you could see the photo of his autograph on her textbook. So they had a story. Why wouldn't, regardless of how they actually met, why wouldn't you just continue on with that story? Because
Or is
now
that story
you,
fake?
now that
Regardless if it's fake or not, though. It doesn't matter if it's
it,
fake or not. You roll with it.
yeah, you roll with it. You had something out there, and now that she acted this way and so guarded by it, they said too that she had like a crash out when they were trying to tape this interview, and that they literally, Jack, and they had to delay the taping of the interview by a half hour. I guess the whole interaction with CBS, she was just being a complete mess.
Another new story. That
Also-
might be a stalker, and that story might be completely made up and fake. And she might be holding Bill hostage, bro. She might have made him sign that philosophy book just to take that picture and put that article out.
That's what
Bill might be in danger, bro. I don't know what's going on.
saying.
We'll know if he if he has the ball on his own 35 or something and doesn't like run the clock all the way down to punt it, like you're gonna know if they replace Bill pretty easy with his game management techniques. But guys, another element of the story we haven't talked about. Can you trust someone named Jordan with 2 O's?
Huh?
It's spelled
I have never
Jordan
seen
with
it
2 O's.
spelled that way.
Jordon.
Jordan.
Jordan. Yeah, can't trust her.
Gross.
That spelling.
That's nasty.
I think we're overthinking this whole thing, guys.
He might just be submissive, bro. He
He
might
is.
just be happy with his 20-year-old John.
He is.
And she's just waiting
If
for
I
that
had to go
paycheck
50
when he hits the casket.
If I was
let's
going
be real.
50 years of telling dudes what to do my whole life, like you gotta peel the layers back. It's like when you're in the
If you're
sheets,
UNC,
it's different.
though, how do you if you're
If you're UNC, you're pissed right now.
Yeah, like the last couple days
No.
have been insane. And on the other side of the coin, if you're the owners of the National Football League, you're probably thinking to yourself, "Oh my goodness, did we dodge a bullet with this guy?"
No, I think they missed out. But Nick, I think you're so right because you talked about it earlier, like the best in the world at controlling people at a certain age. I don't know, man. You got to think if you're North Carolina, you're coming in thinking, okay, we got Bill Belichick. There are absolutely 0 distractions. The ACC sucks. We are so back. And he has Travis Hunter's girlfriend, basically.
Now, what happens if he like cheats on his girl? Like,
I'm not gonna worry about it until I see Bill Belichick being
Who's
walked in a dog collar.
Well, no, who's the team
now,
they
he might
lose?
like handcuffs,
No,
bro. You
no.
don't know what's going on with bro. Like, he might be
Unless I see Bill in the streets
Bondage.
with Jordan on some Bianca Kanye shit, I think he's cool.
Or
Let
he
him
gonna
live
have,
his
like,
life.
what's the
Who is
the
the team in the
gags on, bro?
ACC? Who is the team in the ACC that they have to lose to that you're like, okay, Bill is washed?
Who's in the ACC on football?
The same as basketball.
Terrible conference.
Oh,
bro.
Yeah,
like
it
the
is.
Wake Forest of the world, the Syracuses.
He has adult children too. Like,
Yeah,
like
Steve's
you know
older
that-
than her by like 10 years, probably.
His son is older. He has
But
an
Steve
old-
Belichick's the
Ew.
friggin'
Steve is the
DC.
coordinator.
Yeah.
That's nasty work. Yeah, we gotta check.
He has
Bill.
kids.
Nah, this is gross, bro.
Right?
This is gross.
He has kids. Like, you know that this is coming up in just like family discussion. And like the fact that she has filed trademarks on his behalf, she's listed on it as an owner on a lot of her on a lot of his businesses. Like,
What?
She's
an owner?
I went into this thinking that it was creepy, but
This is
I'm
the
walking out
long
of it
play,
like
bro.
concerned for Bill Belichick.
Nah, she's
All right.
waiting, bro. She's in the will. Y'all know what I
But-
mean. She's waiting.
Y'all chill on
She's
Bill.
in the
Okay.
will.
I forgot. Okay, I remember my question now. Okay, guys. So if you're Steve Belichick
Stops the show to ask a question and forgets the question.
and forgets the question, if you guys are Steve Belichick, where is your head at? Like, are you happy that your dad's dating
Bro,
someone who's younger than you and hot, or
I
no?
know people in this scenario know, but this just messes people up.
They're not
Okay,
just dapping
yeah.
up pops and saying good play.
Yeah, no.
No.
Okay.
Because he's
No,
just no.
this literally, yeah, like especially as an adult, like, yeah, like enroll in therapy.
Dad,
would
why
be
am I
my
older
advice.
than your girlfriend?
Yeah,
I don't know.
That's
Y'all,
nah,
y'all are
bro.
hating on Bill, bro. We got to get out of here, Jack. We don't have time for NHL
In
playoffs.
fact,
Ah, we'll get to
I
it
need
one
to
day.
fact check this real quick. His kids might be old enough to be her parents.
Bro.
Let the man live.
I don't
bro.
think Steve's that
Bro,
old. Really,
If he's
he
in
could
his
be.
40s and then 18, and bro, that's nasty.
Steve is.
I'm all for Bill cooking, but
Are
this-
we kink shaming right now?
I'm not, bro. Like, let Bill live. Like, I'm sure he wants to take a step back, bro. It's probably exhilarating for him. But
Yeah, he probably
I-
loves it. Like he
I-
deserves
the
it.
He's
other
38. He's 38, Nick.
Okay, so
Nah, so
maybe
nah.
not. Yeah, a little bit of
that's
a reach, but-
borderline though. Like, that's big, bro.
Yeah, no,
So
it's
you're
no,
like,
it's possible. Like if something went awry, it's sophomore year
like,
homecoming. You
that's
know, like
nasty,
that's what's in
dog.
play.
That's
All right, we
gross,
got to
bro.
get out of here.
All right, we got to head out of here. Appreciate everybody. Huge shout out to Garage Beer. Huge shout out to Fairway Ford. We'll be back tomorrow, same people, same time. Probably not talking about Bill Belichick anymore, but you
Maybe.
never know.
If she does, I mean, who knew? She's doing something new every day.
Yeah,
That is
bro.
true.
Might have
I didn't
to.
know she was in the wills, man. That's free Bill.
I mean, we don't know
100
that
guys.
for sure.
or
We don't
maybe
know that
not
for
free
sure.
Bill.
Nah,
Oh,
bro.
like-
Bill loves where he's at. It's no free Bill.
Bill might like to be
Free
locked
bill.
up.
Free bill.
Wink,
Free
wink.
bill.
Bill is free. He's
No,
free for the first
Bill's
time
not
in his
free.
life.
Bill's not free.
Got himself a nice young squeeze. Let the man live.
She's
All
not
right.
telling me what to do though. My fault. Yeah.
See ya.